Alrighty, welcome to the 38th CALLERLAB Convention. This panel is the Advanced Choreography, and welcome. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Bill Harrison, and I'll be your moderator. And I would like to also introduce your panelist. To my right, close to me, is Skip Cleland. Skip started dancing in '82, started calling in '86. Joined CALLERLAB in 1990. Been calling the advanced program since 1996. He's also currently the vice chairman of the advanced committee. To the right of him is Michael Maltenfort, and Michael's been dancing since 1985. He's been calling since 2002. Joined CALLERLAB in 2004, and has been calling advanced since 2002. Michael's also currently the vice chairman of the definitions committee. This is a tape session, so anybody who has any comments and so forth, we would appreciate you using the microphone that will pass here. We only have one that I can see. And please state your name, where you're from. Of course, all of these tape sessions can be received if you buy the MP3 thing. I think it's $25. It's a pretty good deal. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start off with who? Skip. Okay. So we're going to allow some time after they get done their presentation for some Q&A as well. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Skip.
As was found out earlier by somebody, we don't have a handout. However, I've got a talking paper here that at the end, if anybody wants a copy of it, I'll give them my copy and a couple of others. Or it's going to be provided by the home office on the website. You'll be able to download it. So you can get a copy of it. And like I say, it's a talking paper. It's really not a, here, go use all this choreography. A lot of people, I get a question when they say I'm an advanced caller, or I call the advanced program. They say, well, when you call an advanced dance, do you do all advanced moves? Yeah. And the first thing I ask them is, what was the first advanced move you learned? And they start looking, trying to figure out what was on the teaching list for advance. And I don't remember exactly what the first one was, but I think it was either bow to your partner or circle left. And circle left. Okay, so yeah, I use all the advanced moves when I'm calling an advanced dance. And if you read read this first section for the advanced program, you'll find in there that they also say that the dancer at the advanced program is expected to know the mainstream and plus programs, and you should be able to take them a little bit further than you would at one of those two dance levels. And I heartily believe in that. So part of my program is to take them beyond that simple plain Jane, whatever it was they were dancing the night before, to plus dance. And by doing that, I also want to make sure that I'm taking these dancers to a place where they're going to succeed. Give them something new. I think there was a session this weekend that says something about different but not difficult, or something like that. Was that the name of the session? Okay, good. Different but not difficult, and take them to that place. The other thing I try to do whenever I'm going into these places is to incorporate the plus mainstream moves with the advanced list of moves in a way that they can take what they know from those other programs and apply them to what they're doing. And something else that it's something I've used in my own head, and I've not heard someone else use the term, but I'm sure they've said it a different way, and that's to use an intuitive feel to what you're calling. Make it intuitive for the dancer to accomplish what you're giving them. They may not know exactly what it is you've asked them to do, but if they just start moving in the appropriate direction, it should feel good. So I get that intuitive feel in there. When I'm working with that, again, I want to go back to, I'm going to pick up my mainstream and plus moves and use them in a way at the plus or at the advanced program that's going to make them feel like they've gone to something other than a plus dance to dance those moves. So I'm going to incorporate things like T-bone formations. And if you read the definitions, such a reference T-bones, so you can start using those at the advanced program. Don't get wild with them. Again, we're talking about most advanced dancers. Now, if you're working with a group that's just a hellfire group and they can do anything you throw at them, do whatever you want to entertain them. Remember, we're trying to entertain most dancers, and I don't think most of our advanced dancers today are at that point. So I've got a little sequence here that I'm going to throw at you. If it gets to the point to where you're not working it in your head well enough, we'll get somebody out here, 4 dancers, that would be all we need to let you see this. But I think you'll be able to see it in your head easy enough. Heads pair off, simple enough. Touch a quarter in a boy's roll. We've gotten into a T-bone situation. The boys are looking at girls' shoulders. And here's where we're going to get into the intuitive feel. Sorry.
I think I'd like to see that. Would you guys like to see that? Or were you okay following along? That's right. Yeah, they're a lot better to show. So is it possible that we could get a group just to go ahead and...
Okay, you can either do it with 8 dancers or 4 dancers, either way you want to do it. And you will be designated by gender, please. So based the way we got going right now, I need a lady.
I can be a lady.
Yes, and I'm very glad I'm working with written material. Thank you. Touch a quarter, boys roll. Fantastic. We got a T-bone formation here now. We got boys looking at girls' shoulders, girls in the lead, boys trailers. Okay. Now we're going to get into this intuitive. First off, if your floor has a problem with this roll, don't go any farther. Give up. Okay. Get back to the plain vanilla stuff and then start thinking about workshops to do. And I'm not kidding, folks. I've seen this roll give a floor fits at the advanced level. So anyway, now we're going to work into the intuitive feel here thing. We don't have to think about which shoulder we're going to use on our next move, because the dancers will be able to just step into it and feel what they need to do. The follow-on to it may not be quite so intuitive for the advanced dancer that's not ready for challenge, but they should be able to accomplish it, and you will be able to give them direction at the end that says, and you should be in this formation, and they can find it. So from here, we're going to split circulate, and the girls roll. Fantastic. Now you notice I've used one advanced call only so far in this, and that was the pair off. Now I'm using the roll. Okay, I'm kind of concentrating on the roll. And by the way, roll, most of you have already seen the plus dancers today have a problem with it, because we only use it from 1 or 2 places, and then next thing you know, they're not sure what to do with it when they hear from a new one.
I was going to say, one of the things I really like about this particular example which is great for what you might do with your dancers, is, okay, they're in a weird T-bone formation, and some of them are feeling fairly lost, and instantly, Skip got them into a very comfortable position where, okay, everything feels good. We're in just a normal left-hand column here, and I think that's part of what makes for good choreo is okay. He had the weirdness, and the weirdness didn't go on too long. I mean, he could have made it go on too long, but for a beginner group, who hasn't seen a lot of T-bones, that was great.
And we're getting back to this whole thing. Whenever they gave me the subject of this panel was most advanced dancers. I know some of you are calling to some people out there that this would be pretty brain dead for them, but I tested some of this stuff on some floors that I thought were pretty strong, and I was really surprised where it went. Okay, from here we're going to get into this intuitive feel again, and we're also now going to bring in part of the advanced program concept of left. We've got a left column here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to expand on the left and use it, and it's going to give us that intuitive feel again that I'm talking about, where the dancers can kind of flow into it and not overthink what's being thrown at them. So from here, if everyone would do a left partner tag. Notice that they didn't have to worry about their shoulder unless they chose to. Okay, if they just used the feel that was available for them, they intuitive went through with the left shoulder. From here, this one, sure.
So I think one of the things that everyone, you turn back. Fine. Okay, the roll. Touch a quarter. circulate just to get you moving somewhere.
Now, you do have to put them back where they were.
Oh.
Yes. Well,
Do you remember where they were? Okay.
Remember, I'm working with written material.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Triple scoot. Circulate. Do you remember where you were? That would have been much. I should have told you. Go back to where you were. After the left partner tag, when you passed left shoulders. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry to jump in there.
So for the tape purposes, we are regressing, okay? And for the tape purposes alone, we have done the hedge pair off, touch a quarter boy roll. We've done the split circulate, the girl roll. We have now done the left partner tag, and that is where we are at this moment.
No, go ahead.
Okay. He wants to expand on my material once I've completed now. So from here, I have found that most of the advanced groups that I'm working with, and bear in mind, I don't work with these advanced groups on a regular basis. I'm a guest caller at their clubs or what have you, so I walk in kind of blind to what they can do, and I have to find the floor each time I get there. And I found that this is one right here that just really threw them for a loop, and was kind of surprised with it. And I really think most dancers should be able to do this from here. I have out-facing lines, and I went to a split, counter-rotate, and roll. And I should have in-facing lines. Thank you. So, and half sachet, by the way. So, girls, if you would identify, please. Fantastic. So I want to make sure you know you're a girl. All right. So from here, I've incorporated that plus roll, given it to them with an advanced move. They may not see, and again, the evidence that I had with the groups that I'm working with, this is not something they would see on a regular basis. So this is taking your choreography and stretching it out a little bit, but not too far, I don't think. Okay, this gives them something different to see. I'm sure Randy's called this 100 times. Okay, and he says, why can't a floor do this? I'm from the East Coast, and that coast can't do this. Okay, so East Coast. What's that? You wouldn't say that? Okay. Oh, no. Actually, the East Coast can do this, certain groups. Anyway, from here, we're going to square through 2. Okay. What did I do here? I did something wrong? Okay. Quarter in, sides twice. Thank you. Okay, should be home. All right. So, I was going to offer that one up earlier for get-outs, but I didn't. Okay, so anyway, that was, again, what I want to stress here is I'm trying to use an intuitive dance, an intuitive feel is the kind of the phrase I want you to put in your mind when you're working these dances and you're trying to do something with the choreography. The more intuitive you can make it for the dancer to accomplish it, the easier it is for them to do it, and they will enjoy getting to that spot. Maybe not even knowing why they got to it, but it was because it felt good and it got them there. And they knew enough about the move that was called that they could do it. Now, this one here's got a disclaimer.
Sure. Now that they're squared up, we do something. I just wanted to expand on what Skip was doing because I think it's great. Let's have the heads wheel through.
No disclaimer on his.
I can't remember what the disclaimer was all about. Pass in and touch a quarter. Yeah, don't expect to get out. I didn't even notice whose corner was whose. Circulate. Partner tag. You turn back. And what I want to, I think people often call the advanced program and it starts looking jerky and it starts not being dancey because people don't always think about what's intuitive, what feels good. So everyone left touch quarter. Circulate. And we certainly can do a partner tag. It's perfectly proper, but it's also a bit awkward. Everyone partner tag. And it's right. Yes, you're not doing the easy shoulder. Nothing wrong with calling that, but what I liked about Skip's sequence is, okay, partner tag and left partner tag have the exact same effect, but I think sometimes people don't always think about what is going to feel good to the dancers because the point is not to trick dancers. The point is not to make dancers feel uncomfortable or to jerk them around. It is square dancing, whether you're dancing mainstream or advanced or C3 or whatever. So I like the left partner tag in that use, which is somewhat unusual, and we don't always think about that as a good call. But certainly from a left-hand mini wave or a left-hand column, that's what we want to be thinking about.
And if you'd square up again while you're getting there, that was one of the things I wanted to bring in and kind of focus on. Like I said, it started my portion of the session off here with the Read Me First section of the program. There's a lot of material in there to consider when you're calling the advanced program. You're not just these moves are on the program. You have some concepts there. And the left concept is very useful to make it a much smoother dance and give you that better feel. If you make the dancer think about what they're doing too much, by the time they're supposed to be where they're at the end of the call, they've just figured out where that destination is. They've not gotten there yet. So now you've gotten even more herky-jerky because now you've got to stop the floor that was actually successful without having to think about it, letting the other part catch up, or you go off and leave them behind, one or the other. So, again, I want to keep re-emphasizing we're working for most advanced dancers today, realizing that we have some regional differences in skill levels. But if you're working with most dancers, I think we're presenting material today that you can use with those floors. And if nothing else, use the material to get a feel for the floor on how well they can dance the level. Okay, the next one is the one that has a disclaimer. I challenged Bill through this process when he agreed to be the moderator for the panel. I said, Bill, I got this intuitive feel thing, and I want to present this and kind of make it the theme of my portion, and I want you to give a really bad example. And Bill had to relate back to a story for me that went way, way back, and he said, I was challenged with that once before, and fortunately you're not doing it to me on the fly. You've given me a little bit of heads up. And we went for a while, and he still came back and says, I just can't dance that way, and I can't call that way. So what I did was he came back and he did give me an example. It said, here's something that intuitively they're going to do it wrong. They're going to execute the move wrong for what you're going to call follow on to it. And then I looked at what he gave me, and sure enough, it was perfect. I mean, it will absolutely cause the dancers, because of their intuitive feel and their learned execution, they will do it wrong. Now, I also want to throw in here and stress this, that this thing was created with professional checkers and should never, ever be used on a live dancer. You're not checkers. If you do this in one of the programs, it'll work, but I would never call this to a dancer. Once again, heads pair off. Right and left through. Veer to the left. Okay. Now, I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to have them go ahead and dance it. If you would, please do a wheel and deal. Centers do a U-turn back and roll. Wrong. Yeah, that was nasty, wasn't it? Yeah. If you're learning to always turn towards your partner to do a U-turn back, you've broken the body flow. Okay. Sure.
So basically, the problem was what happened here is that on the U-turn back, we learn it so early that we know that if you don't have body flow, it is always towards your partner. There's a second part to that if you do have body flow, the U-turn back is in body flow direction. Yes, there's no stop. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the reason why I said I don't want to set this up. I don't want to spell it out. I want you to experience what the dancer would experience on that. And again,
So let's go back to the beginning again. Square your sets, okay? Okay, you're there. Good. So he had heads pair off, right and left through. Okay, veer left. You're going to be there eventually, right? Ready? wheel and deal, and the center's U-turn back, and you have a right hand box. And roll. Sorry. And you have. He did a roll on the end. There you go. There you got it. Excellent. That's correct. You were. Yes. It is, but it's what it says. But I'm just saying that's where we're at. So you guys stay there because I think he has more he wants to do. Okay. So we are now up to the U-turn back and roll, and the 4 in the center should be the original heads, correct? And they are left-handed box, and we are moving on.
Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my disclaimer. Never do that to a live dancer, please, unless it's a gimmick and you just want to make them feel foolish, okay, and start an argument about the definition of a U-turn back, okay. They all perfect fodder for that. All right. So with that, now at this point, I'd like to have my head boys run to a half sachet, and you're done. Okay. So unless you're going to use, are you going to use our dancers? You might be a good idea. I think your material will call for it, don't you? Yeah. Okay. So dancers, do you mind just kind of hanging out for a moment? Okay, good. So I'm going back through here just real quick. Bill's over here nudging me saying, okay, you're going too long. I can't imagine that. What I incorporated here was I brought in the plus program with the roll, okay. Using that, then I went into the intuitive feel and using the advanced program, getting into the partner tag, again, a split counter rotate, not quite what they're used to at most floors, okay, and again incorporating the roll back into it. And here we got into a situation where learned dance would overcome intuitive feel. So there are times when the intuitive feel won't work because they've learned something. Right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what they've learned, and they're going to fight it, even though it's the most uncomfortable thing they could possibly do to change directions to do that U-turn back. They will do it because they've been taught and yelled at because you always turn towards your partner to do a U-turn back. Okay, that's what they've been taught, so that's what they're going to do. And with that also, when you're doing this stuff and you're going beyond what you think the floor normally sees, but you expect them to be able to do it, expect them to do it a little slower. You saw right here. A little bit slower. Granted, we're using all colors, so there's a little handicap there. But with that, okay, you got to slow it down just a little bit and give them time because they are going to want to think about it and not just do what feels good, even though that's the way you're presenting the material. Thank you. And Mike, your turn.
Hold on. Be on the mic, please.
Bill Ackerman from Massachusetts. I have a thing that fits in well with what Skip was saying about the intuitive feel helping the dancers get through something that if they stopped and thought about it too long would confuse them. Have the heads pair off. This is the example you had that you led off with. Touch a quarter, the girls roll. Yeah, right. Okay, from here, this is a T-bone. It's tricky. People they're getting a little nervous. What do you do that's really, really quick? That wait a minute. This isn't what. No. Oh, and the boys roll. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. And anyway, so a thing I do in a situation like this, if I think the dancers are nervous about something, yeah.
Just for the tape's purposes again, so anybody's listening to this and doesn't have the handout, we did the heads pair off, we did a touch a quarter, and the boys roll. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that is where we are now.
Right. I forgot I was a girl. Okay, so a really quick thing that doesn't give them time to do the wrong thing is half a split, circulate, swing through. Half a split, circulate, and swing through. The deal is you call a swing through so fast they don't have time to think about going anywhere else. They think, I want a right-hand wave. Oh, look, there's someone here. I don't know why, but let's swing through with them.
Great. Yeah. Please go home. Stay here, but go home. Yeah, standard one night, first night joke, right? So one of the things I guess I challenge people to think about is sort of how to use these calls well. Like for instance, maybe from a left-hand column that a normal partner tag, not so good. Left partner tag is outside the box a little because it'll confuse people, but that's something that can feel very good if they're doing it well. In fact, they might do a left partner tag even if you did say partner tag. Another example that I don't think people think about that often, how to use pair off well. I mean, I think basically most of us use pair off as, well, we're just too lazy to square through 4. But what does it accomplish choreographically? Like, what's nice after pair off that is not necessarily as good after square through 4? Okay, rolls one thing, so I didn't hear you said that, but sure. But another thing is it sort of pushes the designated pair together. So square your sets. Heads pair off, split the outside 2, separate round 1, square your set at home just to make it easy. But the whole point is they're being pushed together in a way that, heads square through 4, split the outside 2, doesn't feel nearly as good as heads pair off, split the outside 2. Or a little more outlandish example, heads pair off, put centers in. Again, they're together, and they stay together, and that's sort of a nice use. Of course, we've got inverted lines, which is, not so great in terms of easy choreography, but we could, maybe make it easy by doing, for instance, all 8 AC-doocy, which has the same effect as all 8 circulate, but dancers will have better success. And maybe any hand quarter through. And at least we've normalized the setup to facing lines. But, okay, so that was just getting out. But go ahead and square your sets again, because, like I said, I'm not resolving this square today. But, I think the challenge for advanced callers, and this isn't really about advanced, but it's a nice place to talk about it, is how do you use these calls well? Sure, we all should know that pair off accomplishes the same thing as the square through 4, but what feels good after a pair off that might not be as good, and that might be a good use of it? Randy's got a comment. We've only got one mic, so go ahead, hold on.
It's not always going to be the same as a square through 4, though, right?
From a squared set.
From a squared set, okay.
Thanks for the clarification. Although, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've almost never heard pair off except from a squared set. And it would be one of those things to me like the roll, at least to the dancers that I'm calling to, I don't think most of them would know what to do if they weren't in a squared set. And I'd be scared to call it. Although in an advanced class I'd want to be teaching, from other formations. I'm sorry, was there a comment? Pair off. Oh, sorry, yes, heads pair off. Everyone pair off and roll. Right and left grand. Go ahead, right and left grand. Promenade home. Bill Ackerman saying, I use that as what? A really stupid opening biggie is the one we just did, apparently. Okay. So, you guys feel free to jump in at any time. Okay. So, it's one of the things that, sort of tagging off of what Skip was saying earlier, using the left is something that people aren't that familiar with. Just to give the heads a little break for a moment. Sides pass in. The heads have to breathe out of the center. Centers square through 3. And, left touch a quarter. Follow your neighbor and spread. Element left your corner. Come back to square your sets. A little bit overflow, as Alan's saying. But using left, has a lot of potential, I think, that isn't always exploited. So, I'll head square through 2, side square through 2. I'm giving the heads a break here. And I didn't mean to do that, so let's just pass through, trade by. So any hand is free. I think people don't often think, the left concept is explicitly advanced. Using left is simply, okay, this means you're going to have to step to a left-hand wave and do whatever call. So you don't have to do all of these, but the things you might want to think about in addition to simply left touch a quarter would be, obviously everyone does, I hope, things like left swing through, but people don't always think about left spin the top. And this is a situation where, don't do that now, but this is a situation where you have to say the word left if that's what you intend. So this is a use of left that some people use a lot, some people don't. For that matter, and sticking to plus calls with this left concept, but you can from here left relay the deucey, left spin chain the gears, left spin chain exchange the gears. There's a whole bunch of things that not necessarily come to mind. And I probably should have set it up with better handedness, so everyone pass to the center. Center is square through 3. So this gives the left hand free. Left spin chain the gears. Let's see how they do. It's a bunch of callers, so I'm sure they'll all get it. This would be very difficult, but is certainly something where if you're trying to work the left... Oh, they're doing brilliantly here, by the way. Oh, I spoke slightly too soon. Yes, the turn back is away from the center. So there's a use of left that might not come to mind so much. Rich is pointing out that the fact that we have a square of all guys here and not everyone's used to... Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, because I wasn't careful about my gender. You're right. If I had set it up where we had sashayed couples stepping to a left-hand wave, that would feel more comfortable, and that was a good point. It's difficult for us to see that because we got all guys here in this square as it happens. But if we have sashayed couples and step to a left-hand wave, then we've got a more normal situation, or feels more normal because the boys are on the ends of these left-hand waves. So thanks for pointing that out. That's an excellent point. Go ahead and square your sets again, because I'm too lazy to do anything else for the moment. Another use of left that you'll want to be careful with. The sides square through 2. Pass through. Oh, okay. Thanks, Bill. And not everyone thinks about, in the call, spin the windmill. So left spin the windmill right. So that means specifically the centers are doing the left part, but the outsides are still facing right. That's one of the things, want to look at. Yep, good. It's cast 3/4, so you got your right-hand waves here. And what did I want to say anything else about? Does anyone else have anything to add about left? Because I think we have other things to talk about. But hold on, let me get you the mic. State your name.
So Brian Clark, Vancouver, Canada. So from here, see if you do it. Left turn and deal. What do you mean bad flow? Split counter rotate. Yeah, mix. Perfect. Okay. So recycle. Why not? So this is what I would do. Go single circle to a wave for a left turn and deal. Not exactly intuitive. However, the left flow will get you there.
Rod is saying a left square through could have set that up really well. And Randy's got a comment. I'm going to make one comment first, which was that, I think that was a great example in the sense of it has great dancer flow, but you're going to need to work with dancers to actually get success, as opposed to things that are awkward even after people know how to do it. But things that dance well are worth working for, as opposed to things that are jerky that trick dancers.
Walk and dodge. Trade by, and the center split the outsides and left trade by. Engording with your left flow type thing. Pass in, left load the boat. Got to work on the timing part of it. So, again, like what Skip was saying, you can work on some of the mainstream and plus calls, that advanced dancers just they skip through the plus DVD stuff so quickly, and now we get a bunch of advanced dancers that can't hardly do plus by the definition. Veer-left, or don't veer-left, just step to a wave, centers hinge, each diamond crossfire. Now we're back to that T-bone thing, and it's really nervous. Half split circulate, swing through, alert, alert. So I'm just trying to reemphasize, thinking about what Mike is saying with the left thing, you can really give some great creativity and variety.
Left pass and roll for the tape is what we're saying. I didn't know you guys. I was just trying to say that over the mic. I wasn't. They're actually trying to do this. It does correctly work. Yeah. Go ahead. And so and another thing along the. Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job, but I think I'm losing control here. Okay? And the main thing we have to be considerate is that we're enjoying this, but the people who have to go with the tape have to understand where we're at. Okay? And we're getting a little carried away. And the call was, at the end of what Randy had done, was a left-hand ocean wave. And then we're going to do a left pass and roll. Now, before we go any further, we now have entered into the degree of difficulty. Okay? We have changed the perspective a little bit. And so everybody understands that degree of difficulty comes left is very difficult. Now we're adding waves along with this too. And we now are really raising the bar even higher. So be very careful about some of this information that we have. It's good stuff. But now we're in the degree of difficulty. Okay? So now we have the left-hand wave. They did a complete left pass and roll, which means the centers went in and did a left turn through, the outsides roll left double pass, leaves roll left again, and we're there. Okay?
Yeah, definitely, this is dangerous stuff. Everyone trade circulate, so at least now we've got right-hand waves. A lot of people from here have a hard time doing a pass and roll because people don't often think of pass and roll as something that can be called from a box of four. That's what the ocean wave rule here. And yes, it can. You guys don't need to do another one. But the ocean wave rule and the facing couple rule, those go very far. I was basically using the facing couple rule when I was talking about, from facing couples, left spin the top, things like that. And the opposite is true. Do a mix, just because I don't want to trade circulate you guys again. Here we are back in our left-hand waves. There's some great mainstream stuff that you can do from using the ocean wave rule that oftentimes people don't think about. Now you're going to be working in your own wave, and I would tell that sometimes to people that need the extra help, and you guys probably don't, but everyone left square through 4. And you're starting in your wave. So that's a mainstream application, actually, of the ocean wave rule, but it's also using this left concept. Everyone, we haven't done a left turn. Oh. And here's Skip right now.
From here, if you would, wheel and deal.
Just before he did the wheel and deal, just for the tape services here, we had lines looking out, by the way. Okay?
Thank you, Bill. We started with lines facing out. We did a wheel and deal. Centers, if you would, pass through, please. And then veer right. Okay. From here, we can do a turn and deal. Perfectly legal. Okay. And it may be the formation that you actually want to end up in. But if you do a left turn and deal, it's going to give that dancer that nice, if they understand the left concept, which they should be able to do at this point, they should be able to do that left turn and deal. Go ahead and do that and pass through. What's that? Or left pass through, yes. Okay, but at least you didn't have them fighting over that first shoulder pass. Okay, that second one, they'll fight through that one and get through it. But absolutely, it should be a left shoulder pass for a left passer.
And by the way, that was more intuitive than the normal turn and deal. I think we all agree, even though, that's the way it is. They are now in a trade-by position. Excuse me? What's your name?
It was from a left two-face line that Skip had done the left turn and deal. And so then I would put them facing, and they intuitively did a left pass through when really you just said pass through. So if you wanted to do it intuitively, if you want to make sure they did it right, just put the word left there, and the success rate would go up, wouldn't it?
Okay.
And we're going to take a moment, jump right back in here, have centers pass through. We're in a trade by, and then put centers in. I'm sorry, we were in a double pass through. Thank you. Now, from here, wheel and deal. Pass through, veer left. We're a right hand, two face line. Okay. With this, here again, now we've got another thing that is up in the preamble, the read this first area of the advanced program, and it brings into the do your part. And one of the things I like that it says up there when it starts talking about do your part is you don't have to say do your part. Okay, I find that myself, if I start using do your part, it gets translated sometimes a little differently depending on what level dancers are used to dancing at. And also it can be, we're now looking at the advanced caller to know more than what would be necessary at the advanced level and still use some of the do your part concept. So with that, my approach is first off, if I'm going to use something that I think is going to be a little difficult, even though what I'm using is maybe a plus or mainstream move, I'm still going to work it a couple of times before I get to it, to use it in a do your part type concept where I have one group doing something, their part of a move, and I'm doing another group doing their part of a move. So from here, the one that's kind of easy is I'm going to have the leaders do a wheel and deal, and the others do a mini busy. Okay. So now, and from here, I end up as standard, like we've done a mini busy, except for the arrangement is going to definitely be different. Extend, swing through, centers run. So you can see where that one would have been pretty easy for them to get. They would have executed that one fairly well. But now I'm going to throw something in that if you haven't worked it a couple of times, they probably won't get it. Okay. So from here, the leaders half tag while the others mini busy. And you'll notice a couple of them were almost fighting adding that roll, weren't they? Did you see them? They were feeling it. The intuitive thing for them, because mini busy's got that roll thing in their mind. But here you've taken a lower level move. And I hate the word lower, but another program's move, and you've incorporated it. Okay.
Just about that particular example where we had two right hand two face lines, and the call was leaders half tag while the trailers mini busy. Sometimes people don't always think about the parts of calls. You could have said everyone mini busy, but the leaders go 2/3. I guess it's the same. Yeah, I said that in the wrong order. Absolutely. Leaders 2/3 go to only 2/3. Everyone mini busy. That would be a better way of saying things.
So again, another variation. So again, and my idea whenever I started working on this panel is not to give you all a bunch of choreography, but to give you a tool and a concept, and this intuitive concept, to take material you're already using and expand on it. Bill wants to say something, and as soon as he's done, I'll finish up with what I was working on here.
Okay, from they're in diamonds right now, but I don't know their arrangement. Okay, I want you to square up anyhow, so it makes no difference.
So you just destroyed my finish.
You can get back to it. Yeah, you can get right back to it. You have more? Yeah. Okay, all right. But with the do your part here, that we're continuing on, because I think you're done with do your part, but if we have the head star through and spread, okay, the outsides come in, of course. We have same sex together. Am I correct? Good. Pass through, wheel and deal. I believe we have all the girls are in the middle and the boys are on the outside in a starting double pass through. And if I have the girls pass through and I now want to use do your part, in this one here, I'm going to have to say the words do your part. In Skip's example of do your part, he chose to use how it's defined where you don't necessarily have to say the words do your part. Do your part, in my mind, is I want one group of people to do one call and the other people to do another call as well. So in here, each side of floor, in each box, if I want the girls and everybody do your part, the girls swap around and the boys have the bell walk, the bow dodge. Okay? It sure is. But hey, it's doable, right? This is the advanced program. We should be able to do something like that. Okay? All righty? So, I'm just giving you an example of where we're going to have to be really positive about saying do your part. Okay? So you're ready? So in do your part, the girls are going to swap around. The boys are going to do a bell walk, bow dodge. Okay? Very good. Okay? And I just wanted to give that example. All right? That's all. You can square your sets. No. Yeah. Do you want to get back to the diamond part? Okay. Well, we can. We can just have the heads wheel through. We're all squared up. And everybody veer left. And the centers hinge. Now we have an arrangement here that we want diamonds with girls in the center and boys as the points. Now Skip can continue on.
And this took you into something that it would flow into, and what I would have done at that point, at the center of the wave trade, just to break the body flow, do that please, because the body flow at that point, if I didn't do that, would have done some overflow. So I just have them trade to do that, and then I'd have them do a spin the windmill as you are. Okay, so I would expect most floors to be able to do that. Most advanced dance floors should be able to do that, and it was just incorporating some of the do your part concept, or breaking up, having one group do one thing and have the other group do something else.
Okay, you said, Bill Ackerman again, you said do your part, not ends do your part. So as you are, and that could confuse the centers wondering what as you are means.
Well, I believe on spin the windmill, isn't the centers have a defined part, and then the ends or the points of that diamond out there, they were looking for their part. So that was the reason why I felt that was very straightforward.
So I have some pet peeves or some little things that may or may not be useful to people, and it's partly related to some of the things I was saying about where do you find good stuff that dances well, as opposed to merely, is proper. And there's a big difference, because you can dance a lot of nasty stuff that's proper that feels bad. One of the calls I think that's rather underused or rather underused well is the right and left roll to a wave on the A1 program. Lots of people just do double pass through, right roll to a wave. Everyone Ferris wheel. We're in right-hand two-phase lines. Everyone Ferris wheel, right roll to a wave. Things that flow well or with that call are worth seeing. Everyone turn through. Trade by. Left roll to a wave. I wasn't trying to call that. The call, left roll to a wave. Some people don't get into or think about how to get into very well. Left square through 3. Left roll to a wave. So it has a much better feel if you're coming from a left hand, which can come after a left pass through, a left square through 3, or a square through 4, which of course is ending with the left hand. Square chain through would be another good call after which you could do that. What was that? From right-hand columns, you want everyone. Everyone. Oh, okay. Trade, circulate, split, kind of rotate. Because I'm really not thrilled with that turn deal. Everyone circulate. Left roll to a wave. Of course, some people would say leads, but so that was an idea from. Ron? No. Yeah. Can't borrow that.
Okay. Now, notice on that left roll to a wave, we were in a right-handed column, and it was a much better left roll to a wave than if we were in a left-hand column, because the leaders rolling had more room. Okay? You see what I'm saying? That you, like, everybody explode and touch a quarter. So here's our right-hand column. When we do the left roll to a wave, watch how it dances. It's much nicer here. left roll to a wave because the leaders have the area to move left, but the trailers are moving directly ahead. Okay? All right? Do an explode and left touch a quarter. Probably in calling, you might intuitively think, well, we're in a left-hand column, so left roll to a wave is pretty cool. I mean, because we're moving left, we're going left. It's okay to do this. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying this time the leaders have the least amount of turning power, and the trailers have to veer more to their right in order to make this happen. And so it becomes a little cumbersome. Not that we should not avoid this. That's not what I'm saying. Actually, we probably should do more of these. Left roll to a wave. Okay? But you see the complete different dancing feel that you have. All right? All right? Do you want them squared up, or you want to go from here? Okay, so they're in a left-hand ocean wave. Okay? I know you're a girl. So 2 girls together, 2 boys together.
Oh, that's, I suppose, but I'm not, yeah. Okay, left quarter through. That's to move people around, left swing through. Switch the wave. Notice I did after the left swing through, which helps the flow, not in all cases. So we have left-hand 2-faced lines right now. That's okay. Couples circulate. Couples hinge, which, by the way, sometimes people forget is a mainstream call. Center couples trade. What's that? I did not say those words. The words were couples hinge. Yeah, I said what I meant. So we have a title title left-hand 2-faced line. I think I've got all those words correct. So everyone bend the line, centers left roll to a wave. They have that left flowing direction, so that works rather well. Other things where you might have the centers roll to a wave, everyone extend the tag. We've got our left-hand 2-faced lines here. I'm sorry. I don't know what I said, but you're right. Left-hand waves. Thank you. Whatever I said would strike it from the tape. I'm sure it'll be edited out, right? What else do I want? Left swing through. What do I want? We are not going to left pass and roll from here. I'm sorry. We've done that. Been there, done that. We don't want more of that. I know I had a point that I was going to. Sure, left roll to a wave. That's an interesting sort of a thing. Not what I was intending, but that's fine. Grand left swing through. I'm sorry that the tidal wave this direction was probably not a good idea, but and I feel like there's something. Can one of you jump in, because there's something I wanted to say and I can't quite figure out what I want. It's not C1. We're not going to kind of rotate. Either of you, anyone who wants to jump in is welcome to do so. Because
I want to rebuttal on my left pass and roll, and then on the mic.
What do you want to say?
In a minute. Well, Danny Payne, Oklahoma City. When I spoke up from the square, I should not have earlier and said left pass and roll, because I was not intending us to do it from those left-hand waves, nor would I ever call it to dancers normally from there cold. Certainly, they would be helped through it if I did that. But frequently, I'll use that as a good thing to kind of wake up the dancers. I'll have the head step in and do a partner tag, okay, and then from there, maybe helping them if the floor needs it or whatever. Everybody do the left pass and roll to an Alaman left, just as a quick opener or something like that. Thank you.
Okay, I know where I was going, or I think I know where I was going. Everyone spin the top and spread. So we're in right-hand waves right now. Parallel right-hand waves. Switch the wave, and the couples circulate. Wheel and deal. Centers right roll to a wave. Again, they've got that right-handed action because it was a wheel and deal from right-hand 2-faced lines, and that's what makes that good. If we did a wheel and deal from left-hand 2-faced lines, that's really good. Something to avoid, to be careful about, is overflow. For instance, extend the tag. We've got our right-hand waves here. We certainly wouldn't want to do, and I'm sorry for the two of you that this will affect, everyone recycle. center's right roll to a wave because someone has just gone 1 turn and a half. Exactly. That was an example of where it would certainly be proper, but 2 of the 8 dancers had severe overflow on that. But thinking about where you can do the rolls to a wave may be worth thinking about. Rich, did you want to say something? Oh, no, he was just being a little catty. He didn't actually want to say anything since I didn't hear him. Okay. So, centers recycle and pass through. Some of the challenge to me in terms of calling some of the advanced calls is figuring out how to use these with any sort of good flow. Swap around. Go ahead. That's a tough call to use well with good flow. It sort of, I'm definitely, actually in this particular case, love to open it up to the floor like, okay, where are good places to use swap around? Rich?
Yeah. So I would do a normal right-hand 2-phase line, couple circulate, bend the line, and swap around. I think it's good flow for everybody.
I'll take your place. That went too fast. Let's actually see that. Go ahead and call it.
Right now we're in a trade buy. That's right. So everybody partner tag. Fun for the centers. That's right. Wheel and deal. Centers veer right and veer left, and then veer left, and everybody veer left. And we got our couples. That's not the way I would normally do, but I mean, we're good. So, can I do this at the same time? My flow is going to be funny, but anyway. Couple circulate, bend the line, and swap around. Nah, they don't like it.
Bill Ackerman, my position was not good. I was the center looking in after the circulate. We did the bend the line, so I was the extreme right spot on the lines facing in. The swap around took me forward. My flow from the bend the line was the other way. Sorry.
Yeah, so there are a couple calls, and to me, swap around is certainly among them that you have to work hard at doing in a coherent way so that dancers aren't in pain. Certainly, you don't need to do this right now, but from a squared set, head swap around is perhaps about as good as it'll get in terms of a decent flow. But for those, Rich is going to say something in a minute. But in terms of, I mean, those of us who call the program want to call all the things on the program, and some of these things you have to work harder to not have people in pain.
So I think I called couple circulate, bend the line, and swap around. I'm trying to think, was it bad flow for the centers? Is that what you're thinking?
So we probably have about 2 more minutes here, and then we're going to open it up for anybody on the floor that has any questions, okay? So I actually might, okay, I'd like to have you, why don't you come up here? Don, can you do that? I'll come back there, okay? I know you're older than I am.
Also bigger than you are. Don Mojer, Montreal. I wonder sometimes if ends bend and swap around would work. Ends bend. Swap around. You can do reverse or swap around. Either way, because both of them are kind of coming in on the end.
All right. So we had a line looking out, okay, is where we had this start from. And we had the ends bend, and we had everybody do your part, swap around, okay? So you worked in each group of 4. And it did have some body flow to it, didn't it? It was okay. It wasn't bad. Because what happened was, once the ends bend took place, the people that were in the center were stationary. So that gave them the opportunity to do the call without worrying about did they have body flow right or left and was it going to be comfortable, okay? All right. So square your sets. All right. Very, very good. Okay. Skip has a last note here.
This is the last thing I've got on my talking paper. And this is directed more for the newer advanced caller. When you're looking at this read me first area, They touch on a little bit more about the left concept and the reverse. Be sure not to confuse the two. There are a few instances where you can, in your mind, you start seeing left and reverse as kind of like synonymous, and they really, really are not. It's a very, very distinct thing. So be very careful with that. And that's kind of like the last thing I had on my paper.
Okay. Alrighty. I'd like to open up now to you folks and asking any questions of our panelists. First off, let's give them a nice hand for their presentations. Okay, thank you. And do you need the dancers as well? Can they? Do you guys remain stand, or do you want to relax a little bit? You're okay? Cool, because we might need to use you.
On Skip's last comment, a good example of it that I see a lot, head slide through, do a right and left through, double pass through, left track 2. Now, is that left track 2 or is that a reverse track 2? In my mind, that should be called left track 2 because of the left shoulder passing. That's a good example of what you're talking about, right? Okay. Can I do one little thing more? I want a pet peeve. Not yet?
I think as far as reverse goes, we could end up being here for a while trying to decide. But it's a good example. And so I wanted to make sure that you understand that where he was headed with that.
For a lot of new callers that are working on trying to get really creative, if you have the girls run now, and we're in a right face, 2-face line. A lot of times callers set up these offset lines or weird setups by using the word extend the tag, when really it's not the proper terminology. If you're going to do extend the tags, you have to realize that there's a centering up type thing. So if I say as couples extend the tag, we have the 2-face line in the middle, but the others have a shuffle to it to line up. A lot of newer advanced callers are not having them shuffle over. And then, can you guys unshuffle? Not unextend, but just unshuffle. They end up in these offset lines or boxes of 4 that they have like this. So be careful that you don't call that kind of material. If you want to use that, don't use the word extend. Just say as couples step forward, and you'll get this setup if that's what you want. I mean, I've seen a lot of callers misuse that.
Okay, everybody do your part Ferris wheel. And we're now in a starting double pass through. Anybody else have anything else?
What if we did from the starting double pass through? Oh, well, let's don't do that. Let's put, just to make lines, quarter in. And then pass through. We were starting double pass through, and we did a quarter in and then a pass through to make lines facing out. Okay? So we're now in lines facing out. What if, and I haven't called this, but I was standing there thinking about it, what if we were to do a single wheel and center swap around?
Yeah, your flow is going to be... Yeah. Yeah, it's not the best. And I'll tell you, we don't have enough time to go over swap around. Okay? So, no, stay where you are, because I'll tell people on the tape that we're now in... Go ahead, move over. You got it. You're coupled up. Very good. All right, good. We're now in an 8-chain through. Brian?
Okay, so where are the girls? Brian Clark from Vancouver, Canada. So you're normal couples now. Okay, veer left. All the couples circulate. Okay, so I'm going to do something that's going to drive Bill Ackerman nuts, because it has to do with knowing to do your own part and being because of course I'm not going to say do your part. I'm just going to do something. I'm going to call something, and it's a combination of calls which you guys are going to have to do, and then you'll see as I go along. Okay, crossover circulate. Boys go twice. The girls cut the diamond. You're a boy. You're a boy. Rich, you're a boy. That's it. Okay, so in essence, what I'm doing is I'm utilizing the rules, which says that I can assume that you're doing your own part of the call, and therefore I don't have to say do your part. You just, oh gee, you have a diamond, I'm gonna cut it. Fine, let's do that, or something like this. Girls, they're in two-face lines, right-handed two-face lines. So if I had the girls remake and spread, go remake and spread, boys crossover circulate now. Okay, so then you get yourselves into the same position, but you're all doing your part of a particular call. So there you go. That's it. Anything else?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll bring it to you. Isn't that nice? Okay. Here we go.
Bill Ackerman again. I think there are some calls for which doing that sort of thing without saying do your part works very nicely, and you've picked those. And there are other cases in which it doesn't work well. No, I congratulate you for picking good ones.
Yeah. Which we had stated earlier that you have, the way it reads, you don't have to say do your part, but there are some cases you have to. All right? Okay.
Skip Cleland, and I think, what was his name? Brian, thank you. I think he was picking up and doing what we were trying to stress in this session. This is not a level of difficulty stretch type thing. This is most dancers at the advanced level can do the material that you're presenting. And the way he was presenting the material, he was not making the dancers think too hard about what they were doing. If he had used the words, do your part, that might have taken the dancers to a new place. But by just giving it out there, throwing it out there, he was not making them think about a do your part thing. He was just basically, girls do this, boys do that type thing. So, and now you've extended your choreography, and you've used that do your part concept.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, let's give the folks who danced a great hand. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. We only have about 5 minutes left, and I believe we are allowed to break out and go get something to drink or whatever the case may be. But on the last standing note, I want to thank you all for coming to the session. We hope that you were able to gain something. And remember that I believe, do you have a handout that you have given to the home office?
You'll be able to get this from the home office.
So you will be able, if you want what Skip presented, I believe it'll be, you can get it electronically, okay? From the home. Okay. You don't have a handout, is that correct? So in order to get what Michael presented, you'd have to get the CD or the session, okay? It's been a pleasure being the moderator. I hope you all had a great time. Thanks for the participation. Once again, Skip and Michael, thank you. It's been grand.